Hey everyone, this is JayDreamerZ doing an impromptu video about some news that I had just heard about, which is the New Mexico Solar Observatory and the recent events that have unfolded with that particular situation. If you don't know the New Mexico Observatory, it's a solar observatory designed specifically to stare at the sun and observe it. That was recently shut down. It was closed down. And some things had happened. There's a lot of curious circumstances surrounding this particular story. Now, I personally don't have cable TV. I don't watch the news, so I get a lot of my sources from you guys. So I want to thank all of my viewers for letting me know about what's going on or supposedly going on in the world. Now, surrounding this particular subject, we've got a lot of strange things. I'm just going to list some of these. We've got 6 other observatories that have been reported to have closed down at the same time, or stopping at the very least their feeds of their information that's being collected about the sun around these times. There were Black Hawk helicopters, at least one seen around the observatory. We also have missing information from the observatory itself about the sun, and missing information from that particular day from other places like we were talking about. There was a dead hiker found on a nearby trail around the same time. A local post office, was shut down for security reasons. Some reports say national security. We had a video that surfaced of a double eclipse of the sun. We also have a lot of different ideas and speculation about what's going on. And I'm going to address those first. Let me point out what's going on here on your screen. Behind me, I have a picture that was taken of the sun in space. It's actually 2 photographs here. The one over here is showing the sun and these strange objects, as you can see, kind of glimmering out there in space. And then this other one over here looks like a gigantic UFO or something of the like in space. I'm going to talk about that picture as well. Over here to the left, we have this is actually me screen sharing, and this website, if you want to check it out, is helioviewer.org, and I have it pulled up right now for the specific time frame. These are all different times that you can see here, where it shows the light blue portions. Those are all of the pictures of the sun that were taken on that day. As you can see, when I pulled it up, we've got 3 consecutive days, 3.5 days, where there are no images that were taken of the sun, or at least not reported, and at least not on this website. But according to my research, this is a popular website that people use quite frequently and trust for their information. And I found it to be very strange that this observatory shut down. I believe it was on the 6th of September. My birthday was on the 7th. Happy birthday to me. And so I was doing my own thing while all of this craziness in the world was happening. But anyway, I pulled this up, and as you can see, we have 3.5 days of missing pictures from the sun on this particular website. And there are lots of other anomalies out there. If you do your own research and check it out, you'll run into all kinds of speed bumps regarding this particular thing. And I'm going to be looking down at my notes as we go here too. I want to welcome everybody in the chat as well. Keep in mind, everyone in the chat, if you have helpful information, share it, because the chat is also recorded and people can come back later and read what you had to add to the conversation, including myself. One of the strangest things about this story, before I get into these pictures over here, is that the FBI seems to have been immediately involved. I'm going to go ahead and switch websites here. Okay, so this is a quote I'm going to read here in a minute. But the FBI immediately became involved. There was no local sheriff, police. They weren't quarantining anything. The police department. It seems like everyone was really in the dark, which is, for me, an interesting metaphor to use for this particular situation when we're dealing with our source of light, or what I call the skylight. So the FBI came in, the FBI kicked everybody off of the property. They had people evacuate all over. There was the local post office was even closed down for the same security reasons. I find this all to be very suspicious. And I'm not the type of person to just find everything suspicious, but some things stand out a little bit more than others. So the FBI came in, and they were pretty much in charge of the operation. Let me go ahead and read from this website right here. This website is npr.org. And I'm just going to read this particular quote. A security threat. So they say, what did happen at Sunspot? Sunspot's the name of the observatory. What did happen at Sunspot? A security threat, though the specific nature of that threat remains unclear. Now, this was a few days ago, okay? They have new ideas about it, which I'll share with you as well. And it goes on to say, according to a statement from Aura, the consortium and the National Science Foundation decided to vacate the site temporarily because of a security issue. They say, quote, Aura has been cooperating with an ongoing law enforcement investigation of criminal activity that occurred at Sacramento Peak. During this time, we became concerned that a suspect in the investigation potentially posed a threat to the safety of local staff and residents. For this reason, Aura temporarily vacated the facility and ceased science activities at this location. The decision to vacate was based on the logistical challenges associated with protecting personnel at such a remote location and the need for expeditious response to the potential threat. Aura determined that moving the small number of on-site staff and residents off the mountain was the most prudent and effective action to ensure their safety. So that's one quote. That's one idea of what had happened, and a way to look at that. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and read this as well since I pulled it up here. It has become known, this is from the website UFO Sightings Hotspot.blogspot.com. It has become known that 6 more solar observatories, Australia, Chile, Spain, and 2 in Hawaii, and 1 in Pennsylvania, have been shut down. We note that all of these solar/space cams were down at the same time as the solar observatory in New Mexico. I'll just go ahead and bring up these pictures for a moment while I talk about some things. Okay, so we've got some suspicious activity centering on the observatory itself, okay? Then we have the FBI rush in. There's Black Hawk helicopters. People are being evacuated. The local post office is shut down. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a little to the official story. The official story has to do with kiddie porn and something that was found on somebody's computer or their laptop, actually. I believe the story was that it was on their laptop, or they suspect that it was on their laptop. However, the whole town, well, not the whole town, the whole area right there was shut down due to safety reasons. They were really concerned about people's safety. One person was already found dead in the nearby area right around the same time this was all happening. And yet, I didn't see anything about a manhunt on the news, or, police are sectioning off. They're looking for somebody, the suspect, and they think it's this person or that person. And the reason that they say that is because they will tell you that they didn't want to alert the perpetrator, the suspect, or whatnot, right? And if it is due to CP, right? If it is some sort of Pizzagate crap happening or whatnot, that happens all the time. Everywhere, all across the realm, okay? It goes from high levels all the way down, okay? So it's actually something I don't talk about that much on my channel because there's too many gray areas with avoiding strikes and all that type of stuff. So I avoid that particular topic here. However, those topics and much more will be found on my website when I'm done making it, basically. And I'll give you guys a preview of my website at the end of this particular video as well. That'll be fun. But anyhow, that doesn't resonate with me, that official explanation. Now, I'll tell you what does resonate with me. This is very interesting timing for me personally on my walk, on my path that I'm on. The sun, the skylight, the light in the sky that goes over us, the daylight, has always been of interest to me, but not in a whole the sun is holy or the sun is special or amazing. I just find it to be very interesting because I've done a lot of studies relating the sun to a lot of hidden history and esoteric history and things that have been erased from our official records. The powers that be, as of now, don't want us to have access to particular information. So every time something of significance happens, they rush in, they grab the information, they grab the evidence, they manipulate it. They keep us waiting for their official explanations. They take their information, they go lock it away, they burn or destroy the things that they don't want to exist. And that's been the trend. That's always been the trend in my studies when it comes to all of this brand new information. Knowledge is power, right? Or knowledge is, potential power. So here's a possibility, okay? Because I'm not the type to come out and say, I know what it is or whatnot. But here's my idea, because I haven't heard this talked about, okay? If you've ever seen the movie Deep Impact, something very similar happened. Also, I think it was in the movie Armageddon as well. But in the movie Deep Impact, you have this independent investigator, journalist lady, and she wants to find out the scoop of what's going on in this story, right? Meanwhile, observatories have sighted things. This is in the movie. Observatories have sighted things in the sky. They've seen the comet. They know that it's headed towards Earth, and they keep talking about Ellie, right? This reporter finds out that Ellie is an anagram or an acronym for Extinction Level Event. And what had happened in the movie is that the people who are in charge of watching the skies, right? They're constantly watching up there. Just like the Mayans and just like many other cultures, they watch the sky because the sky tells us what's going to happen. The sky tells us what is currently happening, what's going on, what effects are happening in our world. So it's very important. I believe that that's the same reason we watch the sky. Not to search and discover and all that type of stuff, but in order to read the sky, in order to know more. I mean, this is at the esoteric level, okay? That's not what we're told on the surface level, clearly. But anyhow, in the movie, the woman finds out that Ellie, that the government's talking about, the president, everybody's getting involved. It's all very hush-hush, and they don't want to let that information leak. They don't want the masses to find out that there is an extinction level event coming at our world, and that something's going to go down. So she ends up getting the heads up from Morgan Freeman, who is the president. And Morgan Freeman says, Ellie is an extinction level event, and this world is going bye-bye, and we didn't want everyone to panic, and we wanted time to go hide ourselves and, go prepare for it ourselves or whatnot. And so he asks her for a little bit more time before she breaks the story or whatnot, right? This has a lot of similar things on my walk, on my path. There's a lot of similar things happening here. But also, I've done a video. One of my older videos was called The Revelation Sun. Poor quality, it was when I was first kind of starting off on YouTube. But in the Revelation Sun video, which I believe I put a link in the description, I go in and talk about the sun itself and how the sun, the skylight, is directly responsible at the very least, the book of Revelation in the Bible, for destroying the world, for creating this apocalypse that is to come, for renewing everything, right? And I talk about that more in depth in that particular video. So that's why I have been watching the sun. I'll just point this out since the picture's been up. But the sun has what they call sunspots. And sunspot is the name of the observatory that has had all of these issues lately, right? A sunspot is a cold spot. I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard to... I don't know how to say this, but the things that are fed to me crack me up sometimes when I repeat them and I hear them. So anyhow, let me try. A sunspot is a cold spot on the sun, okay? So whenever we see it, it's reflected as what you see over here. These are actually coronal holes, but it's similar. They produce a black area on the sun. An area that is so black, you can see it with your eyeballs. Which I did a video about that because I saw a black spot on the sun. I saw a sunspot, and I took out my P900 and I zoomed in. I checked it out. There's a video. I put out about that as well. You can check that out. But it's because I was looking at the sun. That's because I was checking the sun out with my own eyes. And we've always been conditioned, don't look at the sun, don't stare at the sun, you know. Well, how come? Why is it that we're supposed to not look at that? You know, yes, it's bright. Are you going to go blind? I don't think so. I'm very rebellious. So when they said don't look at the sun, I stared right at the sun. And when you blink, you might have a little circle, you know, all over the place when you blink for a few minutes. But that's about all that happened to me. So I feel like the sun is a very important part of our world, right? Our realm that we live in. And whatever happens with the sun directly correlates to things that are happening down below in our world where we live. So it cracks me up that we have the sun flickering and going out, and all these dark spots that appear on our sun, called sunspots. Or an even more extreme version of that are the pictures over here, which are coronal holes. The sun can turn off. This is what is happening. I mean, it's very simple. The sun that's not cold spots. No. The sun is losing, I don't want to say losing power, but it has the ability to not put out light. This is, well, I don't want to say fact, but this is established in our written record of history. There have been a few times whenever people have recorded, most notably in the Bible, during the 10 plagues of Egypt, the sun just goes out. Okay, I know that we kind of feel like it's going to be there forever and millions of years, and you know that we'll never have problem or whatnot. However, the sun can be manipulated, okay, by the ones who created it. It's a machine, okay. It's not a natural. There's something different to it, but I don't want to get too off topic. Anyhow, the sun can go out. If it can get dark spots, and if it can do that and have coronal holes and huge dark spots covering more than half of it, the sun has the ability to turn off. Do you know why? Because it's a light. Just like all lights, you can turn them off, you can dim them, you know, they go out, they blow up. Thank you, Rulena. I appreciate you as always. And that is the sun. That's why I'm so interested in this. Now, what if all of the observatories are being monitored? What if they're all being watched? And all of that information, just like the rest of the information in the world, goes into some supercomputers, and the relevant or needed information shows up on the end of the people who are in charge. And then red flags go off because the computers red flag certain events and certain information. And they may have seen something that they did not want the masses to know about. Now, people speculate what that may be. As you can see behind me, a lot of people believe that these are alien spaceships and that they're on their way. They look like little Defender. I don't know how many people used to play Atari, but this is exactly what the spaceship on Defender when you play Atari. Okay, stop. Anyway, that's so funny. But look at them. Like, look at these little spaceships. You can almost kind of pull it that way, right? It's got this. Each one of these has a little trail coming off of it, right? And so people are speculating these are all, you know, spaceships like shooting our way in our direction. Now, to me, I don't put much stock in NASA or what NASA says. I've seen far too much evidence that absolutely destroys NASA as being an organization that I can fully trust. I have seen lots of evidence that they make many of their videos underwater in swimming pools and stuff. And honestly, just at first glance, this is just first glance, you know, this is my first time seeing it along with many of you. This kind of looks like little particles or something that are underwater, you know, and that's kind of what that looks like to me. And this one over here, think about this. If this is space, the vacuum of space, as they say, right? Why does this object sort of kind of start disappearing? You know, it starts blending in with its surroundings or its environment. That does happen in water, especially the murkier the water is, when it gets really murky or whatnot. I wouldn't expect for it to do something like this in the vacuum of space, though. I would expect it to be 100%, it looks like this, and it continues all the way around. But those are just my observations that I'm sharing with you. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to screen share before we move forward here. Oh, okay. So I do want to address the most recent story about it. So what they're saying right now is that this is the this has to do with some pervert and some weirdo having a laptop and looking at things that he shouldn't have been looking at online. If that's the case, I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I mean, yes, maybe there could be something like that. However, the FBI were called in. There's Blackhawk helicopters. You have to come up with something that people are really going to rally against. You know what I mean? You have to come up with a story that matches what had just happened, or at least closely matches it. And you have to come up with it rather quickly because people are going to start asking questions. This is a hot topic on YouTube right now. It's a hot topic, in the news media and whatnot. So yeah, they're saying that it was because of some pervert and some weirdo looking at some restricted content on his laptop or whatnot. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Does that sound feasible, like in comparison to all of the other things that have happened? All of the other things that were going on. We've got the double eclipse, these weird pictures that I pulled up here behind me, 6 other observatories being closed down, allegedly. Blackhawk helicopters, missing, pictures like you see right there. Dead hiker, post office closing down. All of that because of something that had happened that we all know happens all the time, everywhere. I don't want to say everywhere, but, in the higher levels of the Illuminati and I guess that would be like the lower levels, really, as far as energy is concerned. But, there's vampires and there's weirdos and perverts out there, and they're into dark magic, and things like that do happen. However, they happen on a constant basis, underground, under the Super Bowl arena every year, the Olympics every year. There are some rituals and some weird stuff happening. So whenever they make an example of one particular one with some random guy with some laptop, and all of a sudden there's this huge thing going on, that tells me there may be more to the story. If not, that side story could have been easily set up from the beginning. Anyhow, I just don't, it doesn't resonate with me. That particular story just does not resonate. They had to evacuate the employees while they change or manipulate the data, maybe? Why would they want all of the employees to just be gone, right? Well, we could say, well, maybe they didn't know who it was or whatnot. But they closed down the post office as well, right? The postman has to go deliver the mail to that particular observatory. And maybe they just want to say, hey, we don't want anybody coming over here. And they evacuated everybody from that particular area. What if they evacuated everybody because there was some sort of new information, some sort of revelation relevant to the particular location, which is the solar observatory? I mean, there are no coincidences in life, there just are not. I know we would like to chalk things up to coincidence when we don't want to invest the care or the connection that exists between that thing and ourselves, but there are no coincidences. So, this is all happening at the Solar Observatory. And maybe what happened is what always happens. Maybe the government or the people who are in power send in the thugs and the hired goons, and they go in and they change things and they steal things and they manipulate things, and then they take those things and they go do whatever they do with all of the information that they have collectively acquired over the last few thousands of years, right? And it all has something to do with this particular observatory. And as you can see, the pictures are missing right there on my computer. So, the sunspot thing blows me away. The sun can go dark. The sun has been written to go dark. The sun has been written and documented to change its course in our sky. There are people on the other side of the world from where I am who have documented that the sun rose on the complete opposite horizon. The sun has been recorded and the moon have both been recorded to do really strange and weird things. And it has also been prophesied, right? in the Bible, in various writings, when they talk about the end coming, which nobody wants to talk about. Nobody ever wants to talk about that. And when I say the end, I don't mean the absolute end. What I really mean is I understand it for what it is, which is a new beginning. That's the circle. That's the cycle. That's time as we experience it right now. And nobody wants to talk about it. You know, just like in the days of Noah, when Noah was like, oh my gosh, guys, I've got inside information. The world's going to be flooded and the heavens are going to open up and all this water is going to pour down from space, basically. And people are like, okay, that's great. You know, keep that at your house, Noah. And I talk about the sun and the same type of things quite often. So I find it to be very interesting. So maybe I'm in good company. I don't know. So anyhow, yeah, we've got the weirdness of the sunspots. The sun has been prophesied to malfunction. We'll say that. I don't know if it's a malfunction or if it's done purposefully. I lean towards probably it being done purposefully. But the sun can be manipulated in its movement in the sky as well. Just like was recorded in the book of Joshua and the book of Joshua, that the sun stopped in the sky. And it's not just the Bible. I'm not just talking about the Bible. The Bible is the most popular version of many of these accounts and these stories and writings, historical records. However, when you research these stories that the Bible gives, like Joshua stopping the sun in the sky or pleading for God to stop the sun in the sky, you at the same time can find records on the other side of the world where the native inhabitants of that particular region report that the moon also stopped in the sky, where on one side there was an extended period of daytime, the other side experienced an extended night time. The sun, these lights in our sky are not, in my opinion right now, these miraculous heavenly stardust light, you know, all the stuff that is portrayed to us, okay? These are things that can be manipulated. These are productions. These are things that were created and made for this very purpose, to give our particular world light, okay? And they're up there, and they can be manipulated. They can be turned on. They can be turned off. They can be turned invisible, which brings me to another video that's going around right now, which is the video of the double eclipse. Around the same time in September, when all of this was happening, there was this image that I guess NASA had, and it showed the sun, and then it showed this circular object passing and eclipsing the sun completely, and then another one going the opposite direction a few minutes later. Now, they've come out and said, hey, that was just the moon. It has to do with, you know, the orbits of the planet and a lot of other confusing stuff. Well, it's not really confusing, but for most of us, it would be complex to really try to figure out the math and the positions and, you know, the parallax and all this type of stuff. But you do see an object go right in front of the sun and totally eclipse it. Like, I mean, it's black. It's not like it's got this little, you know, corona around it, how when we see an eclipse, right? But I'm just saying that happened at the same time. And I get excited about this particular subject because right around 2012, when there was the whole Mayan calendar end of the world, you know, everybody was just all into that particular subject. I had decided right then and there that I was going to research the end of the world myself, that I was going to calculate the apocalypse, that I was going to use everything at my disposal as far as the Rolodex in my brain of information and all of the different related topics, the different books and scriptures and writings and historical records, the additions to our calendar, the subtractions from our calendar. Pardon me. And so I did my own research, and I came up with something that is pretty relevant to this particular story. To present day, basically. I came up with the present day. Now, I didn't want to, you know, I could have made a YouTube video a few years back and said, like, JayDreamerZ predicts the end of the world or something, but I didn't want to be one of those people, you know? So I'm just sharing that with you, not to scare you, not to get you afraid, not to get views or likes or anything like that. I'm sharing it with you because that's my path. And that's the whole point of my channel, is I'm sharing my path and my growth and my studies and my experiences with all of you. Not to make you more like me, but to simply offer what I have gained while I walk, you know? So anyways, that's why I'm sharing this particular information, and that's why I'm so interested in it. Because like many of you out there, I think the world as it is right now is very corrupt and there's a lot of problems there. But there is good news. There is good news. It's all for a purpose. Like I said, there are no accidents at all. In reality, there are no accidents. There are no contradictions. There are no accidents. Everything has a purpose. Everything has its own timing, its own place, its own purpose. It's all going in a particular direction. It's all eventually going to make sense. Some things don't make sense to us right now, where we are on our path, limited. But we're heading towards a state of unlimitedness. We're headed towards being limitless. And that gets into a lot of other topics and stuff like that. So I'm not going to get into that right now. But let me check my notes. Oh, if you hear the computer sound in the background, a lot of people have told me they can hear that. That's something I'm working on fixing. So that'll probably be taken care of pretty soon. Let me see what else I have here. Oh, other video feeds, were shut down at these other observatories. That's really strange too, because if it is related to CP, then why would all these other observatories be shut down? At least allegedly. I have not been to these observatories. I don't know if they're actually shut down or not. I don't know all the story, but that's why I've got you wonderful people over here in the chat helping me out, providing lots of information, which I'm going to go over later. So they closed the post office. There were Black Hawk helicopters. There was a double eclipse. There was these pictures of something definitely there. There's something there. You can't discount that. There is something there. What that something is, I don't know entirely. But I can tell you it's very suspicious and it's out of place. So there's something to it. If it is an alien invasion, let's just play the devil's advocate for a moment. Let's just say, and by the devil's advocate I mean mainstream alternative thinking, right? So you've got the surface level, which is the news on television, right? Your 6 o'clock news with Joe Osborne or whatever, right? That's the surface level. Then you've got the next level, which is alternative thinkers, which are the mainstream alternative thinkers, right? We're just basic mainstream alternative thoughts and ideas. The same blah, 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 blah over and over and over about, well, maybe it's this other thing, right? And then you've got the sub-alternative, right? Which I think I might fall into that category. Anyhow, I feel like I'm rambling, so let me get straight to the point here. The closed office posed down. All this weird stuff is happening, and the government, the FBI, was directly involved. So it may be, here's another thing for you to consider. It may be that we are entering into an age, into a time right now, where the fantastic events of our forgotten and obliterated history, of our past, are going to return to us one of these days, presently. Those include things like what I've been talking about on my channel. As far as the aliens or the elven race or the gods returning, the giants, perhaps even the titans. There are going to be a lot of revelations that are going to be forthcoming, I believe, in the present time that we live in. And I can feel it. That's the other part of it, And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people want quotes and references and page numbers and all of that. But sometimes it just boils down to, I feel it. I sense it, It's kind of like if you watch Star Wars, whenever Luke is trying to destroy the Death Star and he's like got his goggles on and he's flying the aircraft or whatever, and he's thinking of all the technicalities and all the mechanisms to use to get these whatever the hell bombs they were, plasma balls, to go into the Death Star. That whole scene is so corny, it cracks me up. But to go down into the Death Star, right? So, his higher self, or Ben Kenobi, starts talking to him and easing his stress and his anxiety because he's thinking so analytically. He says, Luke, search your feelings. And sometimes we need to search our feelings because you know what? Your feelings are directly connected to your energy. Oh man, you got to say it like that, Your feelings are connected to your energy. You have what people label as different things, whether it be your chakras or aura or energy egg or egg bubble or torus field, all the way around you. It is a part of you. It can be controlled by you, which we do all the time, typically subconsciously. And I do have a point to this, so hear me out. You can move yourself, which is that energy. You can expand it and you can take it in. And this is how, magic works, which is an entirely different subject. But you can manipulate your auric field, so to speak. This is how people can do remote viewing and things like that. You can experience it because you realize that you are there, that you have the access to that information already. But this is a little too complicated. So let me reorganize my thoughts. Okay, so there was no manhunt, right? There was some security issue, national security, FBI's and Black Ops everywhere. There's no manhunt. There's nobody looking for a suspect or anything, They just need to go in and find the information on the computer. The government doesn't care about that kind of information, when it comes to illegal activities. They love illegal activities. They love it. They have a business that runs off of it. Very, very successful here in America. It's called prison and the jail systems. So they don't mind illegal activities. What they do want and what they do find to be of import is information that is relative to the secrets that they already have. And they can't keep everything secret. So much has been leaked out to us. Much is there and available because they've done a good job. I mean, I got to give it to them. They've done a good job cleaning up, trying to control the minds of the people so they don't see what's right in front of them, the evidence that's right there. They've done a good job of, deleting history and replacing it and fabricating it and making it up. However, they didn't do a complete job. And that's where I step in. And that's where many of you are also going to step in and step forward and step out as we start throwing out what ifs and questions and ideas, and we allow ourselves to open up and to feel what's going on instead of to think about what's going on. Anyway, that's my little side note for everyone. So please do check out my Revelation Sun video. Honestly, I kind of ramble on throughout the video, but it is chock full of good breadcrumbs. If you're interested in finding out more about how the sun, or the skylight, as I call it, is directly related to prophecy and the end of times, which you'll also see, in the Imagine Dragons video and stuff like that. They have the flooding and the fire. I talk about that too. But yeah, go check out my Revelation Sun video and let me know what you think about that. It doesn't have very many views because it's one of my older videos, and my older videos don't get that many views because people don't go searching for older videos. But we've got a lot of strange things happening these days, in these times that we live in right now. The weather is going nuts, right? People talk about global warming. Well, what is in charge of warming on a globular scale, if it's globular? What possibly could warm the entire planet? Gee, I don't know. Could it be the sun? Could it be the source of all heat and light that warms our world? Yes, it could. And there's a reason for that. The sun has been seen flickering and acting strange and doing a lot of weird stuff. I've taken some really weird videos of the sun. You could search for those as well. But those are my ideas. Those are my thoughts. Let me see if I have anything else to share with you guys here. Before I go into sharing the website, I'll give you guys a sneak peek of the website and let you know that this weekend, or there may not be a video coming out tomorrow. I may not do a video tomorrow because I've got some things going on. So I wanted to jump on today just in case I don't do one tomorrow and share this with you. But the next time I do a video, it's probably going to be about artificial intelligence, Sophia the robot, Sophia wisdom, Sophia the female energy in the Gnostic writings and whatnot, and Westworld, as I have now completed season 2 of Westworld, which really just blows my mind and has me re-examining my bias against robots and artificial intelligence, things like that. We'll get more into that in our next live stream. And I do want to say that I have a new segment that we'll be doing every Tuesday, which is called The Silver Lining. The Silver Lining is going to be every Tuesday. We're going to come up, we're going to do a live stream, and I'm going to talk to the truthers out there about being encouraged and remembering. When you're on this rabbit hole, when you're falling down this rabbit hole, you can get so depressed and so angry and so sad, and you start questioning, what's the point? What's the meaning? Like, who cares? Why try to save a world that's destroying itself? And a lot of these ideas comes into our mind, and they affect us. So what I'm going to do every Tuesday, because I can relate to you all, and I would like to help you out the way others have helped me out during my times of sadness and depression and hopelessness. I want to help to provide you some hope. I want to help to remind you of the reason why we're doing it, the reason why we are on the path that we're on, and the treasures that we can experience as we walk this path. What's the whole point of it? I just want to take us back to square one to remind us of all of the positive things that are going to be a result of us walking this path. So I look forward to seeing you guys every Tuesday. If you'd like to check this out, it's a segment called The Silver Lining. So I think that's all I had as far as the sun video goes. Personally, it's my idea right now that the government realized that observatory had recorded some information about the sun, and that they wanted to keep that information suppressed, much like in the movie Deep Impact, where they find out that there's an extinction level event on the way, which happens to coincide with my very own research. So for anything, for me, this was something exciting to come across. Not exciting like, yay, I'm so glad that bad things have happened, but it's exciting in that it backs up my own research, which I encourage you to do. Do your own research and use your own feelings as well. See how you feel, not in response to something, but connect to something. I'll talk about that more in our Silver Linings videos. Before we go, I want to give you guys a preview of the website. If you don't know, or if you're new to my channel, I have been developing a website that I hope will be an all-inclusive website, JayDreamerZ website. It's going to have all of my information. I'm going to try real hard to give it a lot of good visuals on the things that I teach and talk about. It's going to have a video library that is separated by subject, and eventually it's going to have a Discord chat. It's going to have other subjects, like I was saying, that I can't really talk about on this platform. And I'll be able to do other things as well. Let me just go ahead and just skip right to everyone's like, just show it to me already. Okay. All right, so let's check it out. Let me make sure I can see it there on your side. Okay, so this is a little, quick example of oh, that was not right. This one. Quick example of the website. So, for example, you can go to the elves section if you want to learn more about the ancient gods or the elven race or aliens or all the other words that people have for them. And you can scroll down and get some good imagery and definitions and, some little teachings in there. You can also go to a video archive. I'm going to have a lot more once this website is finished. For example, this is an archive of all of my videos concerning the elves and the ancient gods and giants and stuff like that. And there's a photo gallery, if you want to have access to the same photos that I have access to and use in my videos, that will be all here for you as well. So that's a preview of that. That is made possible by my patrons and by my supporters, those people who have supported me and helped me out this entire time, to go from a channel using my cell phone to make quick little videos, to getting a laptop, to having poor quality videos, to what you see today, which is going to constantly improve as well. I just want to say thank you to all of you who have supported me ever. Even if you've sent $1 my way, that has stretched and gone a long ways to what you see before you today. So I honestly and sincerely thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all of your help behind the scenes. We're not going to have a credit section today because this is an impromptu video and I didn't have time to make a credit section. But on the next one, we will have an updated credit section and much more. So without further ado, let's go ahead and wrap things up. I'll give you guys the Patreon promo and we'll end things. Now remember, in the chat, I always go back and I always read the chat. So sometimes I'll do a question and answer. Sometimes I'll jump into the chat. I'm not doing that today, but I always go back and I review the video and I read all the comments in the chat room. So I would like to ask for your help. If you are somebody who is usually in my chat room, feel free to, leave as much information that's relevant to the topics as you would like to, because other people are going to read your chat messages for who knows how long into the future, and you might provide some help to them as well to really help this video out. I think that's about it. I think that's all I really wanted to say. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to have a good weekend. I hope you guys do too. Let's go ahead and roll the end of the video. I suck at saying goodbye. I'm so sorry. I'm going to work on that. So in the future, I'm just going to say, all right, this has been JayDreamerZ, and we're out, or whatever. I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for all of your support as I just went through a lot of difficult times in my personal life. During the past month, a lot of you were really positive and really supportive, and you're inspiring me to really push on and push forward and continue doing the things that I've been doing. Okay, I'm really going to go this time. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I come back, but I'm really going this time. All right, I'll see you guys later, and have a great day.
JayDreamerZ. Think outside the box.